Get some analysis now with Jason J. Smart, who's a political scientist. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Good to have you back with us, Jason. As we await lines to emerge from these phone calls between Trump and the Ukrainian and Russian leaders, what's your expectation about what might emerge from this? Because we know Donald Trump previously had perhaps been optimistic or maybe naive that perhaps his power of personality could bring an end to this war. But increasingly, it appears that an end to this war is looking less likely at this stage.
That's certainly the case. I agree with your assessment. The fact is, before the call, the spokesman for the president of Russia had said that he expects this to be mostly a symbolic phone call that is without concrete results. However, it has already lasted quite a long time, much longer than I think what was anticipated, which could be a sign that they are having much more serious discussion than what had been assumed. However, going into this, Donald Trump had said that he expected for Vladimir Putin to start making concessions and to be more reasonable. And as Vice President J.D. Vance said just last week, so far the White House has been disappointed that the Russians have not been willing to compromise and have asked for too much and not been willing to step back or make any concessions. As such, it could be a very difficult conversation that they're having now.
There was a lot of anticipation when delegations from both Russia and Ukraine met here in Istanbul last week. But since then, we know that Russia has stepped up its attacks on Ukraine. We're still, I guess we're awaiting the result of these phone calls. But what do you believe is Russia's game here? What is it waiting for? Is it simply looking to lead the various players on and give them the impression that they are open to a ceasefire as it steps up its attacks?
It would certainly seem that Russia does not have any intention of slowing down or stopping, and that it is just leading people on. Donald Trump acknowledged that he had a sense that that could be what is occurring just a couple of weeks ago. And increasingly does seem that way. I mean, Russia has not showed any signs of being sincere in its interest of ending this war. And according to U.S. intelligence assessments a couple months ago, Russia's objectives have not changed since the beginning of the war in February 2022. That is the full-scale overtaking of Ukraine and thereby occupying it. So Russia does remain very committed to obliterating the Ukrainian state.
Yes, and ahead of these phone calls, the Vice President J.D. Vance had sought to perhaps lower expectations. He conceded that perhaps Putin couldn't see a way out of this war, in which case he's foreshadowed that perhaps Trump would just continue to leave the conflict up to the two players. What do you make of those comments? Is he simply trying to allow Donald Trump to save face?
It would appear that way. I mean, Donald Trump earlier seems to have become very frustrated. Statements by Rubio the week before last, where he said that if there is not some sort of movement where the talks are not moving closer to each other, then the U.S. might just give it all up. That was read by most people as being a message actually from Trump through Rubio, that he was just too frustrated with this process to continue the peace talks because they simply are not making any progress. But once again, it's very simple why that is. It's because Vladimir Putin does not wish to end this war yet. And so Donald Trump appears to have overbet on his own ability, to persuade Putin. Putin is totally uninterested. Putin wishes to conquer Ukraine, and he shows no signs of slowing down.
And we know the US has spearheaded this campaign for Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire, something that Ukraine has agreed to. The European powers have also agreed to that as well. Why is Moscow refusing to come on board?
Once again, Russia's objectives here are quite a bit different. It's not just about territory. It is to obliterate the state of Ukraine. That is to destroy it, where it doesn't exist anymore as a country. And it would appear that they also wish to destroy Ukrainian culture and language as well, so that the people there are Russified. At least that's what we see in the occupied territories thus far. But Russia has been totally unwilling to make any concessions, including requiring that Ukraine give away territory that's currently not being occupied by Russia. That is, there's the occupied territories, there's areas around them. Russia said that Ukraine should just surrender those areas and those people living there, disregarding the fact that they're currently held by Ukraine.
Okay, Jason J. Smart, we will leave it there, but great to get your thoughts as always. Thank you.
Thank you.